right. Here we go with today's number. It's July 17th, 2022.
Number is 3.
Imagine 10 balls. Each ball has a number. Numbers 1 through 10. Swirl those numbers. Pick a number.
I got number 3.
That was yesterday's number. I'm going to go with 3. That was yesterday's number, but we're going to try it anyway. Welcome to the Please Subscribe Show. I'm Cole.
I'm on this side.
Y'all have a very good Sunday.
What in the
Why is
world
it underneath your tire?
I don't know. It's a crossword puzzle.
I don't know. There's no way
I don't know.
that
It
you
says
ran
word
over.
list, another, plus and, times search, 68.
It's very, very strange.
Right over there.
No, the right one on the other side.
Right one. What do you mean on the
No,
other side?
just look at check under the left, yeah. Check under the left one. And then the right
Come on, we got to go.
It's a crossword puzzle.
Maybe it said what?
Nail.
No, it didn't say
because
nail.
you have nails in your tire.
No, I don't.
But nobody
Not
ever
right now.
circled it.
I checked it. Oh no, it's Hurricane Beach Ball scene, but with a cigarette. Get off the car! I was saying it was Hurricane Beach Ball scene, but with the cigarettes. Here, shut the door.
Shh. I need to
Please.
smoke real quick before we drive.
Okay, then we'll roll down the window.
No.
All right, July 17th. I hope you enjoyed today's number is. We don't know the number yet, but guess if you put the comment on. Now that's coming from David Lynch Theater. It's actually a YouTube vlog that he does. David Lynch did a series called Twin Peaks. Linda and I are doing a series called Glorious Glo Hands. Aren't we, sweetie?
Yes.
Y'all have a good day. I found it. It's right here. So what's really cool about this side of West Camp Bowie is this Ridgely Theaters. Now the Ridgely Theater right here, this one is antique, and it does begin with my screenplay, The Projectionist. So that's what I wrote based on right here. This theater right here. It's now a church too, but it's also does a venue. So they do movies there too, and it's a church. And that's how I began The Projectionist, meaning the screenplay. I wrote a screenplay and it begins right here in this area. And then it ends up going to Hollywood, and then the screenplay goes to Dallas, and it ends there. But it actually that's the screenplay. As Projectionist is about a projectionist that goes off to help his brother in Hollywood named Aiden Harris. I did a cast list last night. It was funny because I wanted to use the best actors. So for Aiden Harris, I wanted to use Cooper Hoffman, the son of Philip Seymour Hoffman. Now, for his brother, who is Aiden Harris Martin, so Adair Martin is Cooper Hoffman. I wanted to use him for Cooper Hoffman. Or, hang on, let me start over. Okay, this is how on the cast list for The Projectionist. Okay, I wanted to use Cooper Hoffman as Adair Martin, or I want to use Cooper Hoffman as Adair Martin. I also want to use Jake Gyllenhaal as his brother, Aiden Harris Martin. Now, for the judge, I wanted to use Jeff Daniels. I do want to use Jim Carey, but it's a smaller role, and it's 3. I know he's retired, so this is like a smaller role, but it's 3. It's 3 roles. They're all small. Think of Peter Sellers, and also kind of what he did in Lemony Snicket's. But anyway, the 3 characters I want him to play. I want him to play the state trooper mime. Okay, so there's a moment when Adair's a little crazy, so he has kind of a crazy mind. Adair gets pulled over by a state trooper mime. Then, and later on in the sequence, I wanted Jim Carrey to play a character. Well, eventually I want him to play the other character, which is the host, which is his flaming host and big time flaming host at a LA party. So he's just flaming all over the place. Then there's another one where he plays, I believe it's a theater patron. And in the order would be first he plays a theater patron at the Ridgely for this one scene between him and Adair Martin at a Hitchcock Fest. Because Adair Martin also helps with upsells and stuff like that at the cashier or at the popcorn station or whatever, because it's like a rundown theater. So he runs into a theater patron at the Hitchcock Fest. I wanted first Jim Carrey to play that. Then you see him again. You see Jim Carrey playing again as these state trooper mime that pulls him over. He's like this mime. It's a real weird sequence. If you look at my channel, you'll see that sequence between Daniel Lunt and I. We did a practice sequence on it. The third character I wanted Jim Carrey to play is the host. It's a flaming host at an LA party. It's like, oh, hi, how y'all doing? That kind of thing. So there's 3 different characters. Now, that's just a cameo. Adair Martin's a star. He's the protagonist. It's about him. Now, there are some females I wanted to use. I do want to use Lady Gaga, and I want to use the Lady Gaga, not the Stephanie. I want to use the Lady Gaga. And think of Marilyn Monroe, like her high-pitched voice and all that stuff. But I wanted to use her to play a character that's, I guess, kind of obsessed with Marilyn Monroe, named Allie Starlings, who's this rising star, kind of a B film actress, more like it, but who is kind of the antagonist of the story. She's an evil character, very evil. She's very, very evil in this. But pretty bad, okay? So she seduces Adair Martin, who's a special guy, to actually do meth, and he gets hooked on it, and ends up leading to his death with the SWAT team. It's a pretty serious kind of movie, but it's a comedy too. Now, I do want to use another actress, actually several of them. For the mute, there's an Asian mute in it who I want to use Lucy Liu for that, and that would be for a character named Harrison Stapples. Her parents were big Star Wars fans, loved Harrison Ford, so she got obsessed with Harrison Ford and had to go to therapy. That's where she met Adair Martin, is in therapy. He's forced to go to therapy because he gets in trouble for trespassing, so he goes to therapy. It's kind of crazy. Now that we've got that established, there's another one, okay? There is a female character called Missy Baazar, who's the therapist in the therapy group. I wanted Molly Shannon to play that. It's a long, kind of winded, there's a lot of monologues where she's talking to the therapy group, and it's kind of like she's kind of boring them because they have to be there by law, because they're all punished to be there in this therapy group because they're all obsessed with it like a movie star. It's a lot about obsession. I would say the movie's a lot about obsession. Now, that's Molly Shannon's character, Missy Baazar. There's another female role her name is Lorde Peterson. She's one of the therapy ladies. She doesn't have, it's not a big role, but Zooey Deschanel. I wanted to use Zooey Deschanel for that, okay? Because it's like, great. It's this lady that's obsessed with Marlon Brando. Now, this takes place in the 90s, so Marlon Brando is actually still alive when it takes place. We could do a fat suit for like a Billy Zane type of thing if we ever show Marlon Brando in it. But so far in the script, it doesn't show Marlon Brando, it just talks about him. Because I know Billy Zane is playing Marlon Brando and waltzing and Brando, but anyway, I don't know. But she's obsessed with Marlon Brando, so she has to go to this therapy group, and her name, her name is Lorde Peterson. I think Zooey Deschanel would be great for it. So it's not a big role, but it's kind of a cameo. There's a lot of cameos in this. It's kind of an ensemble piece. It's a little Peter Sellers, inspired by Peter Sellers, very Kubrick. It could be done very Kubrick, okay, very much like Kubrick, with a little bit of Lynch, okay, just makes a little Kubrick with Lynch. Very Refn to a certain degree, but with more of a kind of a absurd comic flair. Even has some of the music from Drive. If you've seen Drive by Refn, Wyndon Refn, I always call him Wyndon Refn. Nicholas Refn. So those are pretty much the ones. Now there is another character in the therapy group, so that could probably be a newcomer, maybe possibly a newcomer. I don't know for sure. We'd have to find out. But there's a few of these characters that I've casted. So it says I'm looking forward to this. I'm still tweaking the script because of the casting. I'd love to send it to somebody, so just leave a comment. Any of these stars saw this, just have your people leave a comment and I'll send the script right to you. I already sent one script, another whole different script to Grim Life Collective. I don't know if they received it, but this one is oh, I remember. Thank goodness I mentioned that. 2 other cast roles. I do want to cast Adamthewoo and Jordan the Lion in 2 smaller roles. If I'm not mistaken, I think Jordan the Lion sells this guy. Okay, Jordan the Lion plays a character that sells star maps on the sidewalks of Hollywood. I wanted to cast him as this character, so it's not a big role. And then I wanted to cast Adamthewoo. I'll talk about that. But maybe possibly as lead, as Adair Martin, rather than Cooper Hoffman. But I think Cooper Hoffman would be perfect for it. But I think Adam could pull it off if I could see him in a reading. If I could do an audition, he might get pulled off. But then again, if not, there's another smaller role I'd like to offer him. I have to look it up. Good morning. I figured it out. So in the cast list, it says Greg Johnson on it. And I believe he's another therapy patient. And I wanted Adamthewoo for that, or Cooper Hoffman if I switched the 2. I'd want to audition both. I'd want to audition Cooper Hoffman to see, because it's an intense role. This could be a debut for Adamthewoo too, if he would accept it. I haven't noticed that he's accepted any film roles. I know Jordan the Lion has smaller cameo roles and stuff. He's done some Hollywood movies, or off Hollywood movies, or whatever you call it, like off Broadway, off Hollywood, whatever. But Adam would be good for either the lead. I could switch Cooper Hoffman and him, and if I could go to the audition and kind of look at it. But I don't know how Adam handles narrative. I know how he handles his vlog. I know his personality from his vlog. Now, you have to realize I wrote this originally for Jim Jarmusch to play Adair Martin. And both these guys have a lot of energy. Jim Jarmusch has energy, but it's low key. It's like, well, you know, I'm a little old right now to try a role like that, Cole. You know, that's like Jim Jarmusch. So right now, I just probably want him as a mentor for the whole thing. I was into Jim Jarmusch films when I wrote it. And it was like a lot of tracking, slow tracking shots, down by law kind of stuff. I don't know if he did a lot of tracking, but he did from the car, at least. That kind of thing. But anyway, definitely Cooper Hoffman on the star list as the protagonist, or Adamthewoo. If I chose Adamthewoo, I'd be risking it. I know Cooper could nail it, you know, with some rewrites and things. I know he could do great, because his dad was great. I know, like, I would be safe, you know. If Cooper Hoffman took it, I'd be like, yeah, we're in. It's gonna happen. So these are star roles. It could be any type of ensemble. I know that not all films, like all the directors and stuff, they don't always get what they want, especially the writers. Anne Rice didn't get that with Interview with the Vampire. She did not want Tom Cruise, and they overrid her. They actually overrid the writer for that and chose Tom Cruise, which I thought Tom Cruise was the best in that anyway. Brad Pitt was okay on it. But anyway, regardless, this is my baby, The Projectionist. It's an old script. I started in 1995 and tweaked it in my head over a period of 2015, more than 25 years of just tweaking it in my head. I thought about even adding some cartoon stuff, because he shows cartoons in one of the sequences at the movie theater, the cinema house. Adam would be good too, because Adam likes the marquees, and the Ridgely has a cool marquee. But anyway, these are just some ideas. Leave comments. Okay, there's another role, Nick the manager. So the Ridgely has a manager to run the theater at that time when Adair Martin's working, and there's this kind of mentor type character. Nicolas Cage would be perfect. He kind of embarrasses Adair for you know, while he's rolling real, he finds these Kleenex tissue paper. So he acts as kind of like a father figure. Background to Adair Martin. I'm probably going to have to at least write a page. But let's go ahead and do it. Adair didn't have a dad. Aiden and he'll never talk about it. They never really had a dad. And the mom was a little controlling. But he did have a mom. There's a scene where he calls his mom on a payphone. But he only asked to speak to his mom. He never asked to speak to his dad. So he doesn't really have a dad. He only had a mom. What he ever had of any type of father figure was always kind of abusive figures that came in and out of his life. Stepdad kind of things that smoked and were into like hard cinema kind of thing. And that's why he flocked to the cinema house. That's why he flocked to, watching movies, and how he became a projectionist. Well, one way or another. It's not the only reason. But he is a friend of his brother, Aiden, who actually is on his way to being a movie star. This is like 1995-ish, how it all begins, It all takes place over a period of 2 years. And Aiden is like a rising star. That's how he meets Starlings, who is basically kind of like early stages of Lady Gaga. Think of that. Lady Gaga in the 90s or whatever, I'm trying to think, I think the reason it's good is it shows the bait of the whole man and woman. That she lays down the bait for the trap. And it does end up getting him killed. So it's a pretty intense thing. You have to read the script to truly understand it, The Projectionist. But it's a lot about cat and mouse, and it's a lot about the bait in the trap. The film is part of the bait too, because he gets put into a trap. The soundtrack that's in the script is negotiable. Okay, you gotta realize it's in black bold. The reason I did that was because that was designed for when the reading happens. Because I usually run sound during a play reading or a screenplay reading or whatever, which I've had both. But I run sound to give the actors kind of a hint of what it's gonna be like. And I also like to hear the music that would be possibly in the play. Now, it's negotiable on all the music, meaning it could be all original stuff. It could be a playlist that I really like. It could be anything, but it's negotiable. It could be experimental. I mean, we're talking like maybe Planet of the Apes soundtrack or score, But it can be negotiable, especially with the jazz artist. I really like Birdman, how they did Birdman with the jazz score. And it is 99 degrees Fahrenheit. I just found out, and if Breck Roll doesn't know, he needs to put it on his show. You can go to Waco, you can get gas for 99 cents at this one gas station. This guy filled up with $10. Can you remember when gas was 99 cents? It's actually true. We're dealing with July 17th, 2022 AD. The Projectionist, which is a movie, is about Adair Martin, who's probably maybe late 20s, close to 30, who's a projectionist. His brother is older than him and is on his way of becoming basically like a movie star. His brother's name is Adair Harris Martin. Adair Harris is a stage name. So Adair's Harris Martin has already gone to Hollywood and met like a Lady Gaga type of character. And her name is Starlings, who's a younger actress, probably 30, who is on her way to stardom. The movie begins in Fort Worth at the Ridgely. He's a projectionist there. He calls his mom, decides he's going to go to Hollywood. This is in the 1995. He goes to Hollywood, he shows up. He finds his brother. His brother introduces him to Starlings, who's already making him a star. Starlings is evil because she gives him meth, and he gets hooked on her. He starts stalking her, and he doesn't. When he's in Hollywood, he doesn't really have the same type of projectionist job that he has, so he has a lot of time on his hands. Now,
let me go back a little bit, telling a little bit out of order, but let me go back. On the travels to Hollywood from Fort Worth, he gets pulled over by a trooper named Trooper Patton, who's actually a mime. It's all in his head. And he gets pulled over, and the mime, or the trooper, quits his job in front of him. He takes his badge and throws it on the side of the road, takes his utility belt, throws it away, throws his gun away, and then walks off and says, I quit everything, right? But he's doing it in mime. Well, he manifests this later on, and these things become real. And he takes these cuffs and he hangs them on the wall of his apartment in LA. And they become real. They regenerate. They actually come from his imagination, from this mime, and they become these real cuffs. So there's a little bit of mime in it. It's kind of, I don't really care if that part is pretentious. I want that in there. I want the mime. Mime is a little pretentious at times. I know ways we're going. Regardless, that's what it's about. And so he ends up meeting Allie, and he gets obsessed with her, and she gets him on a trespass, and he goes in for a while in LA. And then he gets out, and he's ordered to go to therapy for obsession. And that's where he meets a woman named Harrison Stapples, who I wanted Lucy Liu to play, but it's a Asian. There's not a lot of Asian movie stars, but it's this Asian lady that's obsessed with Harrison Ford. Her name is Harrison Stapples. Her parents were even obsessed with Harrison Ford and Star Wars and Han Solo. So she goes off and tries to get Harrison Ford, and they lock her up for a little bit, and then she has to go to this therapy group. That's where she meets Adair Martin, who's the projectionist. They elope to Las Vegas with the handcuffs that he actually gets from this trooper mime, this crazy trooper mime guy. These have iconic character kind of things, almost comic characters almost. They go and they elope to Las Vegas. Adair Martin and Allie, Allie does go through there. She goes all over the place, but Adair Martin and Harrison Ford. After the marriage, they go to Dallas, and Allie Starlings actually goes to Dallas on a tour on one of her movies. The movie that's used in it is called When No One's Looking. Think of Blowout, Brian De Palma Blowout, where there's that fake movie that's inside of the movie inside of a movie. It's a movie about a movie. Why are you making a movie about a movie about a movie? It's kind of that thing. So when no one is looking, a Jake Gyllenhaal type of actor, known as Aiden Harris, his brother, plays a character in it, Martin Lorde. And Allie Starlings plays a character called Cheryl Stark. It's got Mulholland Drive kind of thing about it a little bit too, because they play these characters inside the movie. And anyway, it gets to Adair Martin's head, so he gets kind of lost in it all. They finally move to Dallas. That's Harrison Stapples and Adair Martin. They basically get married and move to Dallas. And he sees Allie, the movie star, go into this hotel. He goes to try to find her. He dresses up like a bellhop, and when he knocks on the door, it switches, and he's at her apartment. And he holds her there for a while till SWAT comes. It ends in a very sniperish kind of way. It's very sudden. But at the credits, I wanted to use Sun Kill Moon's Carry Me, Ohio. So it has that kind of feel too. So you feel for Adair Martin, even though he's like this obsessive character. Blowout has a very similar kind of emotional theme ending, because he has to use the fake scream, or it's a real scream, but it's supposed to be a fake scream, but he has to use that scream, which is a real scream, to score the movie, because it's the only thing that works for that particular movie that he was doing, a horror movie. And he gets the recording of this woman who's kind of like a, I guess she's like escort service kind of thing. I don't really know, but she ends up getting murdered by like a serial killer, and he gets it recorded on sound. That's why it's called Blowout, because he also records the sound of a politician getting almost shot. Well, the politician gets his tire shot out and he records it, and then he uses the newspaper clippings to put it all together because he's a sound guy. John Travolta was in it. It's Brian De Palma's Blowout. It's another version of that in a way, mixed in with Mulholland Drive and maybe my own original creation. I'm telling you, man, it's one to think about. It's one to consider if you're an actor. The Projectionist. I may put it under credits of Ash Cole or Cole Spivey, one of the two. Ash Cole's my pen name, Cole Spivey's kind of my name. Or it's my name, it's the name I use. So how much is it per hour?
So we do like a half day and a full day for daycare.
Oh, a half day and a full day?
Yeah, so half day is going to be like under 5 hours, and then full day is going to be over 5 hours.
Have you heard of WAG?
I have.
Yeah, WAG is like, it's kind of like this. It's like remote, but you go. They let you into their home, and you take photos of their dog after you walked it. I think they even have like a little tracker showing you that you walked. And then you feed and you do like instructions and you follow it, and then they just you just cash it out.
Yeah.
It's actually called WAG. I'll show it to you. Now to switch over to the TV series that I'm working on right now for YouTube, it is the glorious Glo Hands, and it's also kind of a combination between Twin Peaks and True Detective, Monk, Psych. The two characters are Colt and Ketch. Colt is kind of a genius, kind of from Hollywood, does acting and film, music, all this, all this stuff. Loves to write all these crazy stories. Guitar too, likes to get on the guitar. Catch is his partner, who she is a prophetic woman that can sense where murder has happened, the spilt blood. And she senses a spilt blood, she starts to speak in tongues. That's how they operate. So when she starts speaking in tongues, he knows that there's blood somewhere around. Think of The Shining too. Totally The Shining, and Dr. Sleep a little bit too. But it's a series, and we're on episode. We're already done episode 4, which was in the dark, because we always see his lab. He's in the dark. I thought about also in the lab that you see the stars, because he like has this projector that projects stars around his lab. It's kind of not a hippie, but kind of a postmodern kind of hippie kind of guy. His father and grandfather were chemists, so he invents this very high potent luminol called Glo Hands. He's also kind of trying to sell it, like on a not info commercial or whatever, but kind of like that. He tries to sell it to different things, but you spray it and it turns pink for female blood, and it turns blue for male blood. You can separate the gender of blood. It also can detect blood up to 100 years in the past. So it does that kind of stuff too. It's a classic. I'm gonna try to get over in a certain way. Do not try this at home. But this is a classic right here. You'll hear the sonar. It's Texas. Yeah, it's a good one. Now, the thing about these guys right here is I want to say 1960s, JFK period. You can see the tail fins from far back. Yeah, he's going right anyway, so cool. But he's going down Stonemeyer's. This is awesome. It's like, man, it's too many people were doing this. He's an older dude, but I'm gonna say maybe Chrysler or Chevy. That's a good one right there. That's rare. Look at the front window, how the front window slopes right there. Chrysler or Chevy, I couldn't tell. I have to go back and look at the footage. It's amazing.